Mr. Speaker, I was just wondering if this was a stalling tactic by the majority party on delaying the vote on this important bill that will kill 5.5 million jobs today.
Order, Mr. Speaker.
The chair will observe that that is not a correct parliamentary inquiry. The chair will
Mr.
also
Speaker, continuing to reserve
on this side of the aisle, I don't think anybody wants to.
Mr. Speaker, continuing to reserve the right to object.
I'm sorry, gentleman is recognized.
I appreciate that, Mr. Speaker. I understand that this may be a train that's rolling. However, it appears that the majority side is interested in stalling this bill. Would it be appropriate to ask unanimous consent that all extension and revisions of remarks could be done en banc?
Be appropriate. The chair will observe that unanimous consent has already been granted, but I note that there's a lot of members around here that want to ask unanimous consent. The chair is going to recognize them and let their unanimous consents be judged by both the chair and the House in a suitable form.
Mr. Speaker, continuing to reserve the right to object. How about increasing the debate time? It appears that the majority party is attempting to expand their debate time. I would ask unanimous consent that each side be added 1 hour of debate time.
The objection has been heard. The gentlewoman from New York continues to be recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I continue to reserve the right to object.
Objection. The chair will be delighted to hear it.
Again, Mr. Speaker, it is my understanding that the majority party appears to be continuing to delay the process here, and it would be appropriate, if the majority party is interested in fairness in this process, to provide for increasing debate time on both sides of the aisle.
And the chair observes that the regular order has been demanded, and the chair observes that the regular order is, in the view of the chair, being conducted.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Speaker, point of parliamentary inquiry.
Then I
chair hears objection. The chair would hope the gentleman wouldn't object, but if he does, then it will be written on the record.
Well, Mr. Speaker, continuing to reserve then, if you're not interested in obtaining my objection, continuing to reserve. Again, it appears that this is a process by which the majority party is interested once again to subvert the rules and expand the debate time on the majority side. So I would ask the Speaker.
The gentleman from Georgia is not recognized. A member asking to insert remarks into the record may include a simple declaration of sentiment toward the question under debate, but should not embellish the request with extended oratory. So the gentlewoman from New York continues to be recognized.
Mr. Speaker, continuing to reserve.
Mr. Speaker,
continuing to reserve.
The chair has recognized the gentlewoman from New York.
Mr. Speaker,
and she continues.
Mr. Speaker, point of parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, I continue to reserve my right to object.
Mr. Speaker, if you could,
as much as is necessary, the chair observes that the chair has recognized the gentlewoman from New York, who continues to be recognized.
Mr. Speaker, point of parliamentary inquiry.
A woman from New York is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I believe that what is occurring now is not only opposed to the House rules, but is containing further comment which was not allowed in the rule, nor in the general provisions of the House.
Restate the ruling that the chair made earlier, and that is that a member asking to insert remarks may include a simple declaration of sentiment towards the question under debate, but should not embellish the request with extended oratory. The chair has heard nothing which contravenes that, And the chair makes the statement to my good friend that we will continue as we have in allowing each member
Mr. Speaker,
to make
point of parliamentary inquiry.
Gentleman is out of order. Chair's busy
If the
ruling
gentleman
here.
could please, if the Speaker could please advise me about the time that is presently being consumed.
Mr. Speaker.
Gentlemen will suspend, and the regular order has been demanded. It will continue to be followed.
Thank
Speaker,
you very
reserving
much.
the right to
Thank you,
object.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, reserving the right to object.
The regular order's been demanded, and the regular order will be followed.
I am pleased to yield
And the
one.
chair recognizes the distinguished
Thank you,
gentlewoman
Mr.
from New
Speaker.
York.
And I am pleased to yield for unanimous consent request to the gentlelady from California, Ms. Roy Ball Allard.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my remarks on the Democratic bill because it will help women with breast cancer pay for chemotherapy.
Without objection,
Mr.
so
Speaker,
ordered.
reserving the right to object. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker,
What's that?
Mr. Speaker, reserving the right to object.
The unanimous consent request has been answered. It's been entered. That is the business of the House.
Mr. Speaker, reserving the right to
Gentlewoman,
object.
Without objection, so ordered.
Mr.
The
Speaker,
gentlewoman
reserving the
from-
right to object.
Mr. Speaker, regular order, please.
The chair has ruled on
Is a
the matter.
parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker. Is a Mr. Speaker, parliamentary inquiry.
Gentleman will state his parliamentary.
Is it not appropriate for a member of the House to be able to reserve a right to object on a unanimous consent request?
Chair is going to inform the gentleman that he has the right to make a timely reservation. Chair is going to observe that such was not made. Now,
Further inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
and gentleman will. Gentlewoman,
Further inquiry.
the gentleman will state his objection here.
Object.
Objection is heard. Continues to be recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield to the gentlelady from California, Ms. Capps, for unanimous consent request.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous
I
consent
object.
to revise my remarks in
Object.
support of the
Object.
reform.
The request is not yet before the House.
Mr. Speaker, parliamentary inquiry.
The gentleman is not recognized. The gentlewoman from California has been yielded to.